Hey you guys, I hope you are all doing well. You know who I am, you know why you're here. You read the title of the video, I assume. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a review on the all new Thunder Dark hose. This is going to be version number 2 of this hose. And I'd like to go ahead and start off by showing you my logo and some quiet music. Okay, that's enough of that junk. Let's go ahead and get into the specs on this hose as I went through the origins of Thunder as a company. In my last Thunder hose review, that would be on the Thunder hose, the Mid Stilus hose, which is eerily similar to the Dark hose V2, but we don't really give a shit about that hose. We're doing the Dark 2. So to begin with our specs, we're going to go ahead and start with the length. So from the tip of your hose all the way down to the port where it actually goes into your hookah, you're going to get 78 inches total. Now that's a pretty solid length for a hose. It's not really crazy long like some of the Thunder hose models tend to be, but this one does have some length to it. Now don't get too excited because the handle is actually going to take up 10 inches of that length, which is a pretty good size handle. This is probably going to be one of Thunder's smaller handle sizes, but that's no big deal. I feel like 10 inches is a good solid length to have any type of a hose handle at. Now with the handle being 10 inches long, that's obviously going to leave you with 68 inches for the rest of the hose. So this isn't going to be exactly like the Thunder Mid Stilus hose was, where you could be like a mile away from your hookah and still be able to rip clouds. You're going to have to be relatively close to your hookah with this hose. Although I will say that this is quite a bit closer in length to a lot of the other big hoses on the market, like say the D hose or maybe the Narbiche hose. This is going to be quite a bit more similar to those hoses because the Thunder Mid Stilus and something like the Thunder Slim hose are going to be outliers in terms of just raw length. Moving on to something a little bit more technical, let's take a look at the bore of the hose. There's nothing really insane to say about the bore. It's going to be even across the mouthpiece and the port that goes into your hookah. It's going to come in at 7/16 of an inch. Although I'm not sure how much that matters, the only thing that tells you is what your smallest choke points are, because the hose obviously opens up once you get into the hose, and I haven't yet cut open the hose to figure out exactly what the bore of the inside of the hose is. Maybe I'll do that in another video, but I just got this one, and I don't really want to deface it just yet. Let's take a look at the material and durability of this hose. Now the material is going to be somewhat similar to what they made the older versions of the Dark hose out of and what they still make the Stilus out of. I believe they're still making it with this. Now this is going to be a more rigid, kind of a slightly more fragile type of a vinyl material. It seems that they've moved on to a much nicer, smoother, more user-friendly vinyl material that isn't going to crack nearly as easy as the old one was. So Thunder has taken the material and just raw quality of the hose and has shot it through the roof. They were pretty good before, now they are just outstanding. I don't know if anyone cares about this type of a thing, but I did take the liberty of actually weighing the hose to see how many grams it was. This hose is going to weigh in at just around 146 to 148 grams. Not that a lot of people necessarily care what the weight of your hose is going to be, but compared to something like your D hose, this is actually going to be quite a light little piece of merchandise right here. Now, before I wrap this review up, I'd like to go ahead and pack a bowl for you guys and show you how it smokes. I'm sure you know what to expect. We're going to blow some clouds and it's going to be good, but we're going to go ahead and pack a bowl anyway because I know everyone likes to look at clouds, so let's do that. Okay, so now that we've gotten that weird part out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at how this hose actually smokes. As you can imagine, it's going to smoke relatively okay. It's got a decent bore to it, and obviously the bore opens up when you get to the actual hose portion of the hookah, but some of you might need proof, so let's just take a look at how it smokes, and then we'll go ahead and get to wrapping this video up. So there you go, that's going to be the cloud output for a hose like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that a lot of what's going to go into your cloud output is going to deal with the actual way that you pack your bowl, the bowl you're using, and how you manage your heat, as well as your water level. The water level is going to have a little bit more to do with the restriction than it is going to have to do with the cloud content. So as long as the hose is relatively wide open, you're going to get a pretty good amount of clouds out of it. I just figured I'd demonstrate it for you guys. Now, as far as the price point on this hose goes, as far as the price point on this hose goes, you're going to be looking at about $14.99 for this hose. In a minute here, I'll tell you how you can maybe get it for a little bit cheaper, but I will say that that's a pretty fair price for a hose like this that's going to last you a good long time. This hasn't seen the test of time for me yet, so I haven't had enough time to see whether it's going to actually break or cause any kinks or anything, but the material does not seem like it's going to do so. So I might do an update video in a few months for you guys to show you how well it stands up. I've only had this hose for a couple months now. I've been using it daily, but you know, I'd like to give it a few more months before I can sit there and solidly say that this hose is going to last you for the rest of your life, because realistically it's probably not, but for 15 bucks, how can you go wrong? Now, if I had to rate this hose on the 10 scale, you know, from 1 to 10, take into account the length, versatility, durability, bore, and just general quality of the hose, I'm going to have to go ahead and give this hose a solid 9 out of 10, a pretty solid 9 out of 10. My reason for giving the hose that rating is because matched with the price point, all of the features that you're actually getting with this hose, it just lines up beautifully. You're getting a quality hose. It's not setting you back a ton of money, and you're going to be able to use it for a pretty good long time. I'm not sure if you're going to get, you know, a year or years out of it, but I would be willing to bet that you're not going to be throwing this hose out for at least 6 months, which is pretty solid for the investment. Now, hey, maybe you're thinking to yourself, man, I'd love to get this hose. This guy's talking all kinds of good stuff about it. Where can I pick it up? Well, I would recommend going over to 5-Star Hookah. I'm going to leave a link down in the description. It'll take you right to the page where you can actually pick this hose up. And Alex and Mary will take care of you guys real good. Don't worry about that. They have pretty quick shipping time. They're very quick to correct any errors. They have a huge inventory, and their prices are very fair. And hey, say you're gonna make a big old order on 5-Star Hookah's website. Well, why don't you go ahead and use my promo code that's gonna be PIPED15, PIPED15. That's going to get you 15% off everything on your 5-Star Hookah order, excluding anything already on sale. So you can go ahead and pick this hose up and whatever else you need to pick up for your stash and get 15% off of it, which is just a pretty good deal. Now, if you feel that this video gave you any type of value whatsoever, I would highly suggest subscribing for more content just like this that I'll be pumping out on a weekly basis, at least 2 uploads a week. And hey, if you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up so I know you liked it. If you thought this video was garbage, please give it a thumbs down so I know you hated it. And if you have any questions, comments, or criticisms, leave it down in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to engage with you guys. And hey, if you have any requests for any hookah products you might like to see reviewed before you invest in them, why don't you go ahead and leave a request for those down in the comments as well. I'd be happy to let you guys know about some products that you might be interested in picking up before actually making the investment. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always,